this is Dave Osborne from Kids Guitar Academy, and today I'm going to show you how to play Comedy from Spy Family. And to be honest, I think this is one of the funnest songs I've learned all year, so I hope you enjoy learning it as well. If you'd like to download and print out the sheet music, that is available on the Kids Guitar Academy website, which I'll link to below. So this song follows a very simple structure. We start with a really short intro, which leads into a verse section, which we play through twice. The verse goes straight into a short pre-chorus, which leads into an epic chorus, which finishes the song. Now, one of the main features of the song is that there are a lot of slides. I mean, I think there's slides in just about every bar of the song. Slides are such an important part of guitar playing technique. One of the best things you can do for your guitar playing is to get good at slides. Slides are what give your playing a smooth, or what's called legato sound. When you compare phrases that use slides to those that don't, you really hear the difference. For example, here's phrases 3 and 4 from the verse section of this song, played without slides and then with slides. So as you see, playing the phrase with the slides just gives it a much smoother, more legato sound. So here are a few things you need to know about slides before jumping into learning this song. So there are two kinds of slides in guitar. There are 2-beat slides and there are single beat or grace note slides. With a 2-beat slide, you are hearing both the note you're sliding from as well as your target note. So there you clearly heard 2 notes. Now with grace note slide, you don't hear the note you're sliding from. You're essentially using any random location to get to your target note, and your main concern is just getting to that target note on time. Now when doing slides, the other important thing to consider is what finger you're going to use to slide with. As a general rule, you want to choose your sliding finger based on what notes are played after the slide. So for example, if I'm going to do this slide and then play higher notes, I'll probably slide with my first finger so that my other fingers are available to play higher notes quickly. However, if I'm going to do this slide and then play lower notes, I'll most likely choose my third finger so that I have other fingers available for those lower notes. We see this at work in Comedy right in the very first phrase. So right here, I'm sliding with my third finger so that my first finger is available for the notes that come after. All of the slides in Comedy are single beat or grace note slides. So we're essentially going to slide from whatever position our hand is currently in, with our main concern being that we're getting to that target note on time using whatever fingers will make it easiest to get to the notes that come after the slide. All right, so now that we've covered the essentials of sliding, let's go ahead and jump into the tutorial. All right, so the verse section has just 4 phrases, with the first phrase probably being the most popular phrase in the entire song. Here's phrase 1. 1, 2. Okay, so we're starting this phrase with a slide from the 4th string, 4th fret, up to the 6th fret. And we want to use our third finger to do this slide so that our hand is in position to play the other notes that come immediately after the slide. So we're going to slide up to the 6th fret, and then back and forth between 4 and 6, jumping down to the 2nd fret on the same string. So this little theme gets repeated twice. Before we jump into the fourth position with our first finger on the fourth fret of the fifth string, so that we can go smoothly up the minor scale, in order to play the notes that come right after that little initial sequence. As you see, I'm just trying to keep my hand in the fourth position. I am using the pinky to reach up to that seventh fret. That way I can get to the notes accurately. All right? So when you put these two together, so once you have that down, try playing along with me at a slower pace. We'll be starting right after beat 2. Ready? 1, 2. All right, now for phrase 2, we're going to reposition the hand to the second position with the first finger on that second fret of the fourth string. Here's what phrase 2 sounds like. Ready? 2, 3, 4. So once again, I'm starting on that second fret note so that I can immediately use the third finger to slide from 4 to 6. All right, that puts my hand in position for the notes that are going to follow. So after I slide to the 6th fret with that third finger, I'm going to go down this arpeggio using first finger to third, and this is kind of awkward, but I'm going to stretch the pinky down to the 7th fret before skipping way up to the 2nd string, 4th fret, and then to 5th. So you're going to have to practice the string skip from the 5th string up to the 2nd. You want to, after playing that pinky note, just release the pinky so you can get up to that 2nd string. Then we have another string skip to the 4th string, 4th fret, taking that note down 2 frets to the 2nd. So once you've put the phrase together, try playing straight through it at a slow pace. Here we go. Ready, 2, 3, go. All right, so this already brings us into phrase 3. And here's what it sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you look at the first bar of phrase 3, we're sliding into the 6th fret, and then we've got this weird little symbol after the 6th fret, which is a quarter note rest. Now, quarter note rest simply means that we're not going to have any sound for this second beat of the bar. So after we do the slide, we want to immediately cut that note off. We don't want it to ring out. Then we're going to do the same thing with the slide to the 4th fret. We immediately cut the note off before dropping the 3rd finger down to the 6th fret. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but I used my first finger for both of those slides, and I slid from 2 notes below my target note. Right, using my first finger makes it easier to execute these slides, but it also puts me in position to grab the 6 that comes right after those 2 slides. You're then going to jump down to the 2nd fret on the same string. And we've got a quarter note triplet, so we're going to do 3 notes before jumping back to that 2nd fret and finishing with the 3rd finger on the 4th fret of the 5th string. Okay, so you may want to practice just the last part of the second part of this phrase to get that little lick down. So the 2 parts are and Now, once you put those two parts together, try playing it at a slow tempo. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, so now we come into the last phrase of the verse section. It's a little bit longer than the other phrases, but it's one of my favorites. Here's how it sounds. All right, so for this phrase, it's very important that we start with the first finger on the 4th fret of the 3rd string. Now, we ended phrase 3 on the 4th fret of the 5th string, and you'll be tempted just to jump that 3rd finger up to the 3rd string, but don't do that. You want to actually reposition the hand so that the first finger is taking the lead, and that's going to make this much easier to play, because we're going to be moving these notes all up on one string for the whole first half. So that was 1st to 3rd finger. I then slid 3rd finger up to 9, 2nd finger on 8. Now I have no choice but to jump 1st finger to 6, and then again down to 4, where I've got some 8th notes here, so they're a little faster. Okay, so that was. All right, now I'm going to cross over to the 4th string, and I've got a slide going up to this 7th fret. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my middle finger and slide up to the 7th fret so that the first finger is ready for the 6th fret that comes right after it. Okay, so once again. Now I just bring that first finger to the 4th fret. Now I'm rolling up to the next string, right? So I just flatten my finger out to grab that next note and then straighten him to come back onto that 4th fret. Okay, that's faster and easier than just jumping the finger back and forth. All right, and that technically is the end of the phrase, because what's going to happen here with the last 4 notes of the phrase, we're just coming back into the beginning of the verse. So these last 4 notes of phrase 4 are really just transition notes that are bringing us back to the beginning of the verse, back to phrase 1. So that being the case, I highly recommend practicing this transition from the end of the verse back to the beginning. Start with those last 4 notes of phrase 4, and then go right into the first part of phrase 1. You'll want to get that transition smooth. Now, once you've made that transition, you literally are going to play through the entire verse a second time. Phrase 1, 2, and 3. Once you get to phrase 4, you're going to play it like you did last time, but you're going to tack on a slightly different ending. Here's what it sounds like. 1, 2, 3. All right, so I played through phrase 4 just like I did last time, but I switched up the ending a little bit, which enables me to transition into the pre-chorus. So once again, we just play up the 3rd string. Right here, we cross to the 4th. We're going to hold this 6th fret out. Then we're going to jump up to the 3rd string, and with the first finger, we're going to slide up to 6, go to 4, slide into 4, and then move to the 4th string 4th fret, where we slide from 4 to 2. So that was like this. Now notice that once I slid to that 2nd fret, I hit it a second time. And that's what you're tacking on to the end of phrase 4 as you go through the verse the second time. Now, once you've put that together, try playing it through at a slow pace. Ready, 2, 3, 4. All right, so the pre-chorus contains just one long phrase, which is best broken up into 2 shorter phrases. Here's the first phrase, phrase 5A. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so for phrase 5A, we're going to start on the 3rd string, 1st fret, and we're going to do a big slide from the 1st fret to the 6th fret. Now, just like I spoke about earlier, this is a 1-beat slide, so it doesn't really matter where we're sliding from. What matters is that we get to that note on time. Now, we do want to make sure that we're using a finger that will set us up for what comes after the slide. So in this case, we want to use the 3rd finger to slide with so that the 1st finger is ready to go immediately to the 4th fret. So just like we talked about earlier, we just want to slide from the position we're already in, which would be the 1st position, which means I'm just going to put the 3rd finger on the 3rd fret and slide from there, going back to the 4th fret, crossing over the 4th string, 6, 4 to 2, and then I'm going to slide with the 3rd finger from 4 to 6 to finish this first half of the phrase. So that would look like this. Now, once I'm in this 4th position, I'm going to stay there for the rest of the phrase. I'll bring my 3rd finger up to the 6th fret. I'll play it twice. Move up to the 2nd string. Skip down to the 4th string, 6th fret. And then to slide to the 6th fret, I'm going to stay in position and use my 1st finger to do this slide. That way I don't have to move my hand out of position in order to do that last slide. So once you've worked these 2 parts of this phrase, try playing it through slowly. Ready, 2, 3, 4. All right, so now we're going into the second segment of this pre-chorus phrase, phrase 5B. Here's what it sounds like. 1, 2, 3. So for phrase 5B, we're going to start with our 1st finger on the 5th fret of the 2nd string, and we have 2 8th notes which are played quickly. So to get the timing right, I'm going to play these with a down-up stroke, and then the rest of the strokes are going to be down. That way I get the timing right on this. Down, up, down, down, down. And as you see, I'm just running these notes right up the 2nd string using my 3rd finger to make the slide up to 9. Back to 5. We're letting him ring out for 3 beats. And then we're moving diagonally back to the 4th fret on the 3rd string using the 1st finger. He rings out for 2 beats. We then hit it again before doing the last bar of this phrase. So the timing here is important. We want to make sure that we're letting these notes ring out for the right amount of time. Here it is with the count played at a slower pace. If you're trying to play along, just remember to start on beat 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. right, so we come into the chorus with phrase number 6 of the song, and it's going to be played twice in a row. Here's what it sounds like. 1, 2. All right, so this awesome phrase is played in the 9th position. I'm going to be starting with my first finger on the 9th fret. Now we're mostly going to go between the 9th and the 11th frets here, but we are starting off with some quick 8th notes, so we'll want to pick down, up, down on these 9th fret notes. The rest of them can be played with just downstrokes. That'll help you get the timing right. 9s, 11, we let it ring out before returning to 9, cross over to the 4th string 11th fret, back to 9 for 2 quarter note hits, and back to 11. It's one of the simpler phrases in the song. Once you've got it down, try playing it along with me at a slow pace, and remember, we're playing it through twice. Also, a quick note that this phrase starts on beat 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, now this leads us straight into phrase 7, which has the exact same timing of phrase 6. The notes are just on different strings. In this case, we're on the 2nd and 3rd strings. Here's what it sounds like. Ready? 1, 2. So for this phrase, we're starting on the 9th fret of the 2nd string, and once again, we're going to use down-up picking to play those quick 9th fret notes, after which we could just revert back to downstrokes. So I'm going to hit that 9 3 times. I'm going to use pinky to reach up to 12 so that the middle finger is ready for the 10 that comes right after. Back to 9, cross over to 11 on the 3rd string, 9, 11. So you just want to practice that first half of the phrase. Now we come back to the 9th fret on the 3rd string and we climb up 9, 11, 9. We hit 10, let it ring out for 2 beats. 9 for 2 beats. Back to 10. But we're going to slide up to 12 before jumping back to the 9th fret. After we hit that note, we return to 11 for the last note of the phrase. So that second half of the phrase sounds like this. Now at this point, we're actually just going to jump right back in to phrase 6 by hitting that 11th fret note one extra time and transitioning ourselves back to phrase 6. So that second half of phrase 7 with the transition back into phrase 6 sounds like this. All right, so once you have the two parts of this phrase put together, try playing through it at a slow pace. Once again, we're starting on beat 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, so just like I mentioned before, we're going to go right back into phrase 6, which we're going to repeat twice before coming back to phrase 7 again. But this time, we're going to end it slightly differently than we did before. Here's what it sounds like. Ready? 1, 2. All right, so you probably noticed the only thing I did was tack on 2 extra notes, the 14 to the 12 on the second string. Everything else was exactly the same. Once I played through the second half of the phrase, did the slide up to 12, back to 9, I jump up with the 3rd finger to the 14th fret to add the 14 to 12. Now after that, we're going to move the hand immediately all the way down to the 4th position, targeting the 4th fret of the 3rd string for phrase 8. Here's what it sounds like at full tempo. Ready? 1, 2. So all I did there was I climbed up from the 4th fret of the 3rd string to 6 to 4 on the 2nd string, targeting the 5th fret on the 2nd. You immediately jump down to the 4th string 6th fret. Let it ring out for 2 beats before moving that 3rd finger up a string to the 3rd string and moving quickly from 6 to 4 and then back to 6. Here it is at a slow pace. Once again, I'm starting on beat 3. Ready? 1, 2. And that leads us to the final phrase of the song, phrase 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. You gotta love this ending of the song. We're still in the 4th position, so we're gonna start with the middle finger on the 5th fret of the 3rd string, let the note ring out, move to the 4th fret, cross over to the 2nd fret of the 4th string, and then slide up to the 6th fret. There is a retard here, meaning that the tempo is actually slowing down on us, so you want to keep that in mind as you play through it. Here it is at a slow pace. Ready, 2, 3, 4. All right, well, great job working through this song. Once you've got these phrases down, it's time to practice putting them together by playing along with the song. And remember that you could always change the speed of this video using the settings in case you need to slow the play along down. Well, once you're ready, make sure that guitar's in tune, and let's give this a shot. Well, I hope you've enjoyed learning comedy from Spy Family. If you have any other song requests, be sure to leave them in the comments below, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you in the next Kids Guitar Academy tutorial.